In a town full of sports fans, there is a new museum exhibit that you do not want to miss. Who Shot Sports, a photographic history 1843 to the present, is now showing at the Tampa Museum of Art. And joining me this morning is curator Seth Pevnick. Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, this is so cool. I'm so excited to have this exhibit here again in this perfect town where we love sports.
Absolutely.
But me and you were chatting, and it's not just about the athletes that are pictured or the fans that are pictured. It's all about the photographers who sometimes don't get the respect and credit they deserve, right?
Right. So we are an art museum. We're not a sports museum. We're not a history museum. So it's not a history of sports through photography. It really is about the people behind the camera, the photographers who are shooting it. And some of the photographers in the show are well known as fine arts photographers, but many of them make a living as sports photographers. And for a long time, people in the art world have said, well, they're not artists the way that other photographers are. And our hope with this exhibition, and the hope of the curator who put it together, Gail Buckland, is that we show that these really are artists, and what they do is very, very difficult and very demanding, and we should appreciate the results.
Sports photography is difficult. I mean, I have toddlers. It's hard enough to get pictures of them, let alone you're looking at some of these athletes here. So let's get to some. These are just some of the examples. How many pictures? More than 200?
Yeah, well over 200 images in the show, more than 150 different photographers. So it's a very, very full exhibition. It'll take people a while to make their way through. So we picked a few highlights. This is by a photographer named Tim Clayton, and it's affectionately called Boy in a Bubble, for obvious reasons, I think. This kind of picture is now becoming a little bit more familiar. This was taken in 1993 and was really cutting edge, and that's one of the things that we appreciate in the exhibition, is that there are a lot of technological advances in photography that happen because of sports photographers. I mean, you mentioned
huge,
you mentioned the difficulty of catching your kids, and I have had the same experience. A lot of these advances have been made to allow us to capture the body in motion.
So body in motion, and then also some just sport events, that some of them tragic, which, by the way, I did not know that this occurred.
This is a terrible disaster that happened at a soccer stadium in Brussels, Belgium in 1985. And this is taken by a photographer, Eamon McCabe, and won a lot of awards for his coverage of this event, which is quite tragic. The folks in this photograph, I'm told, made their way out safely, but sadly a lot of people lost their lives and were injured in this horrible stadium disaster. And one of the themes of the show is not disasters, but it's fans and followers, right? The great spectacles that we see wouldn't be as great as they are if it weren't for the fans. And many of the people who come to visit the exhibition perhaps can sympathize more with the fans.
We have one more picture of the beautiful Serena there.
Yeah, so this is Serena Williams. Everyone knows who Serena is. This is in a section of the show called The Decisive Moment. So the decisive moment for a photographer is sometimes a little bit different from the decisive moment in the game itself. We don't know what's happening in this shot, right? We see all her muscles tensed, we see her eyes on the ball. Something is about to happen, but we don't know if Serena is going to win this point or lose this point.
Hey, we're almost out of time. I wish we had more time, because I know this book is so cool. This is a little snapshot.
Yeah, so this is a companion book. It goes with the exhibition. A lot of the photographs in the show are in this book, really a lot of cutting-edge photography, but also great scholarship about the advances made in sports photography.
And one of the coolest things about this exhibit as well is you're honoring and kind of showcasing local photographers right here.
Right, so when we decided to bring this show to Tampa, it was organized by the Brooklyn Museum and is going on a worldwide tour. There are images from all over the world, and people said, well, what about the sports that happen right here? And rather than sticking a few here and there into this show, we decided to put together our own show that we've called Lens on Tampa Bay Sports. It's a little bit smaller. It has 41 photographs by 8 different local sports photographers.
So this goes on through when?
Through April 30th.
April 3rd.
So we hope a lot of the folks who come visit for spring training will stop by the Tampa Museum of Art. A lot of great photos in this show.
Seth, thank you so much. I can't wait to, this one I definitely want to check out. This is so cool. Thank you so much,
for having me.
All right, up next.